We, I was here for Troy's visitors weekend when he came, and he was, I think, still working in Africa and high-risk security, and he was, wondering whether this was real and something that could really work. And I see a lot of people at visitors weekends, and I kind of forgot when he came back, he was here. And yeah. And when Troy came, we as we often do, we kind of promote maybe a little ahead of where we are. And he got here, and he was kind of looking. We were in the old west wing of the library, which had sort of been abandoned, and we were kind of refurbishing the best we could do. And he looked around, and he thought, he told me this later, I could have stepped out or stepped up. And he stepped up, and he got together with other students, and they came up with a plan to renovate that west wing of the library in a way that would completely reflect everything we want to teach in our program. He actually dropped out of school with a couple of his colleagues and spent, I think, 6 months doing those renovations. And that was that's when we first started to recognize Troy's leadership abilities. And we had the opportunity to go work in an island off the coast of Alaska, 6 hours by ferry. People had lived there for 10,000 years, and we did a demonstration project for solar energy, and I think that's a lot of the people that are in Troy's company now. We're on that project, and they got kind of trained up. Amy was there doing logistics. She didn't end up going to Yangon, but she was behind the scenes, making sure, because this was a very difficult place to do a project, because you can't drive there, and everything has to come in by boat and by plane, and then it has to go by boat or plane to this remote island. And so this team, again, saw the leadership of Troy and the team that he put together for this project. And then I was working with Amy on the Eco-Village project, and she really took the Eco-Village project to another level. And Troy and Amy lived there for a number of years. And that's where I also first started to see Amy's leadership in environmental affairs in Fairfield. She had an opportunity at one point. She was doing a project on campus. Amy's a builder, in addition to many other talents, and she could have taken a building down and put it in the landfill, and it would have cost maybe $100,000 to do that. But she figured a way to take that building apart and deconstruct it. She got a team of Amish people to deconstruct it, and the only thing that was left was a small dumpster full of material, and everything else was recycled, and it cost nothing to do that. So it's really fantastic. And here's Amy. Again, Amy integrating these ancient ideas of Maharishi Vedic architecture with these modern ideas about it being in tune with natural law from sustainability. And here's Amy out installing solar panels on the ladder. And here's the team. And another thing about Troy's company, Ideal Energy, is that I think at least half the company is MBA graduates, and he keeps. I don't have hardly any staff left because he keeps hiring them all the time. It's really fantastic to see them. And the solar industry, Troy dropped into it just at the right time. And it's going so fast that I hardly even know how to teach it anymore. I can't keep up with it. I have to go see Troy to find out what's going on. And I just saw a quote from Vice President Biden. He said that the solar industry now employs more people than Twitter, Facebook, Google, and Apple combined. And Troy is a leader of the team. And then we actually hired them to install the solar panels on our new sustainable living building. So our former students, Troy's company, actually installed the panels. And this was actually a photo taken by Troy 100 feet up on the wind tower.
Yes.
And here's, you might not know this, but everybody's Whole Foods is powered by solar energy. It used to be I would drive people to Boulder, Colorado to see a community where there were lots of solar panels. And Troy, you've made solar boring here. It's like, I can't, oh look, there's a solar array. Oh, there's solar arrays everywhere. So it's really fantastic to see that. And here's again, they've gone from smaller systems, the systems keep getting larger, Here's Mayor Malloy's system. So Troy's worked on a lot of different levels of community service in addition to his work in his business. He was on the Go Green Commission. He had a leadership role there. Installed this solar array for Mayor Malloy. Here's Governor Branstad. At what's this project, Troy?
It's in Pilot Grove.
Pilot Grove, and it's 400 megawatts?
428 kilowatts.
It's 428 kilowatts. So it used to be that solar panels were measured in like tens of panels. Now this is an acre and a half of solar panels that's going into this project. And so let me see. So you guys can come on up. And I'm going to show a very short little video. Let's see. That'll try to introduce
My background is with the military. I actually spent 9 years in the U.S. Navy SEAL teams. Then I was one of the co-owners and founders of a company that was doing high-risk personal protection. I was on a detail guarding President Hamid Karzai in Afghanistan. I think my perspective just continued to broaden. I started realizing that I could actually have a different impact on world security. And right now, it's with our energy. So we started our company, Ideal Energy, as an energy efficiency company. We recognized solar very early on in that it was a good way for us to expand our business. As soon as you install it, it just passively makes energy, and the consumer has very little maintenance to deal with, and it shows real impact right away.
When we started the company, it was just Troy and I pretty much doing everything. And we've grown to having 5 full-time employees now. When we're installing, we bring on many subcontractors so we can have 10, 12, or even more people employed within our community. It feels good to be able to have employment opportunities in our small town.
Clean energy initiatives have created jobs within our community. We have a very successful company, Ideal Energy, that has really pioneered the development of solar within our community, that is now branching out into other areas of Iowa and has demonstrated that jobs can be created in this way.
This is looking great. Yeah, you're almost ready to go.
We get a lot of people knocking on our door all the time looking to work with us, and I think people are very encouraged to work with a company that is taking the environment into account, and I think that they see and want to be part of that.
So we are thinking, strategically also, how can we work with larger electrical users to get solar to catch on in a more widespread way so that we can actually directly impact carbon emissions from electrical sources.
It'll get to the point where we don't need the tax credits, but right now they're extremely important. The industry is growing, there's the service that is involved in it, and the technology development, and we need that to be dependable to grow the economy of the United States. I know that fuel costs are going to go up, and then that's going to be deferred to the customer, and I think that's just going to make renewable energy more viable. So there's an expanding market in the renewable energy industry, so there's many, many jobs to be fulfilled.
In a very short time, they become a leading solar company in the Midwest, and Troy just came back from his 3rd visit to the White House. That was so we had the local, the state, and he works. He's also been the White House. So, thanks again, Troy and Amy.
Thank you, Lonnie. So I'm happy to accept this award. Of course, accepted on behalf of the team at Ideal Energy and the community at large, because we're definitely not doing this on our own. And I think what really defines Ideal Energy is the support that we're getting from the community. And we're very, very appreciative of that. And the community at large, like when I came here, started working or getting my education at the university and doing these things that Lonnie was mentioning, Ed Malloy asked me to participate in the Go Green plan. And I'm very thankful for that, because although I felt so green when I did that, when I say green, I mean like I didn't know what the heck I was doing. and it was really the first time I got to participate in a community like that. I've been traveling my whole life, living out of a suitcase with the military and everything. So I got to feel what it meant to be part of a community. And that has blossomed because it got me to recognize what the community was and what their desires were and what we could actually plan and build out. So it was an incredible experience to be part of that. And that just continues. Of course, I found and married my beautiful wife here, and it's clear that we make a really good team. So being involved in renewable energy is really easy. You know, we've had our head down this entire time, and I look up and I go, wow, we've done all of that. You know, and it hasn't been easy in that regard, but the fact is, we are so passionate about it. You know, we love what we're doing, and it's, you know, I go around and I speak on behalf of solar all the time. You know, the White House 3 times now, and, you know, everywhere we go, we put on a presentation and we talk about what is really happening in the market and what's expanding, what advantages we have here. I'm really a salesman, but I don't feel like a salesman because I'm providing opportunity for people, and that's fantastic. And, you know, I really thank Lonnie for inspiring me and bringing us to be part of that project. And he was there in the early stages when Amy and I, again, didn't know what the heck we were doing. And he sat down with us, we looked at an Excel document, and he's just typing it out. Okay, this is what we're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to do this, you're probably gonna have to do about $1 million worth of solar sales. And we're just like, oh my gosh, really? Okay, right, let's do it. And sure enough, we did it. You know, our first year, we put out $1 million in solar sales. And that was Amy and I. And we had a couple contractors we subcontracted, and we were doing sales, and then we'd install, and then get back together and we would put together presentations, and we would do more presentations and sell, and then install. And we were working ourselves to death.
I do also have to say that actually at that time, the solar industry really didn't exist in Iowa. Yeah. So the tax credits had actually just shifted where it became incredibly economically viable for businesses to do this. And Troy and I were, you know, saying like, are we the only people in the state that know what's going on? But because this community was so dedicated to sustainability, we actually, you know, had a really hard launch, and by hard I mean we went straight up. And we're 6 years old now, which means that we have gray hairs in the solar industry, and we've maintained our position as one of the top companies in the state. We're moving on to utility scale installations, but we are still happy to be putting solar on homes and the domes of Fairfield. And I think one of the reasons also that we've been so incredibly successful is Troy and I both actually come from a background of family business. Yep. And for many years we ran our company out of our home, which meant that we had to work a lot of long hours, but there was always a pot of soup on the stove or something that made us feel comfortable and made us feel like we could actually do really good quality work. And when we moved over into our office, one of the first things I said is, we need a kitchen in here because we want all of our employees to feel like they're at home. And we go out of our way to try to make sure that everyone on our team is a family member. And I feel really fortunate to come from my family background that I do in business and being able to care for our employees as if they are family members.
Yeah, big thanks to Doug and Francie for instilling that in Amy. Because not only does Amy work with us, so does her sister, Katie, and we make a fantastic team, all of us. And that's because of what Doug puts into it all as well, and Francie. Doug has always been there as a mentor, as the whole community is, but Doug especially, of course. He's definitely got buy-in that he wants to see us successful, and we really appreciate it. And so, but I feel that way with the entire community, and that's what we get. Every time we put up another solar panel, it's like a billboard for the community, for progress, sustainability, you know, for where this community is going. From all the speeches you heard earlier before us, seeing that community grow, I feel like that's what we're part of. So
And of our 25 employees at Ideal Energy, about 17 of them are alumni.
Yep. So thank you.
Tell us about the White House visit.
So every once in a while we get invited to the White House, and
No big deal.
well, solar is extraordinarily political. You know, as you see, Governor Branstad has been to 2 of our installations. Senator Harkin has been here, did a tour of most of our installations when he came through town, the bigger ones. So this is an extraordinarily political thing. And being in Iowa, people want to hear of what's happening in Iowa. So they actually just flew me to the White House, and we got to I had 8 meetings with senators and congressmen to just speak on behalf of a business that's growing in Iowa. So that's how that goes. 2 times we met with about 30 of Obama staff, where we just got to communicate with them and talk with them. Ed's been to one of these events. So it's really neat, and it's nice to be part of. But thank you so much. I want to just say thanks again for all the support that we've received, and I really appreciate being part of the community.
Let's give him a big hand. We're so proud of you.